I'm going to show you how to use Omnisphere in Reaper to have 8 different Omnisphere instruments, but yet only use one instance of Omnisphere. And this is really important to do because Omnisphere can be a pretty taxing plugin for your workstation, and if you're going to have 8 different Omnisphere instruments, you don't necessarily need to have 8 different instances of Omnisphere running to eat up your CPU and memory and all that. So there's already a lot of tutorials out there, like on YouTube, for how to do this in Pro Tools, how to configure Omnisphere in Fruity Loops, how to do it in Ableton Live, Cubase, a bunch of other programs, but I haven't seen one in Reaper. And after I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure this out myself, because it's not always that straightforward, then I found that there's a tutorial on the Spectronics website that makes Omnisphere, so I'll show you where that is too. But to get you going, the first thing we want to do is let's add an instrument. So this is just a totally blank shell of a project in Reaper. So let's right click and do insert a virtual instrument and Omnisphere. And it's going to ask me if I want to do this build routing to create all these different tracks. I'm going to say no because I don't want all these different audio tracks. What I want are MIDI tracks. So we'll say no. And then Omnisphere will come up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and load in 4 different instruments here. I could do all 8, but just to make it faster, I'll just do 4 within this one instance. So I'm going to load up a preset that I've already got. And so I've got Mr. Vacuum on 1, Snow Chant on 2, 3, Jupiter Bass, 4, some clappers. So go ahead and lower the volume down on this because I know it's going to be pretty loud. And so here's our instance of Omnisphere. So we should have some sound. Okay. Now what I want to do is create all these different MIDI tracks. I'm going to create 4 of them. First thing you do is insert a new track, and I'll label this Omni MIDI folder. And then I'll add another track. We'll call this Omni MIDI 1. And this guy needs to be all MIDI. Change these to be all channels. And so now that we've created, basically, what I want to do is I want to create these different MIDI tracks inside of a folder, just for better organization. So I can click this little plus sign here on the MIDI folder, which kind of snaps these guys into as being subfolders. So I can copy this MIDI track and paste it. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different MIDI tracks here. It looks like I screwed up something there. There we go. All right. So then each one of these, we want to turn on the little recording monitor for every one. Then we want to click on the first MIDI track here, and we want to do basically what this is doing is it's saying on this Omni MIDI track 1, I want to send data to Omnisphere to play the first instrument in Omnisphere, which is you want to add a send to Omnisphere, and the MIDI data needs to be sent to channel 1 in Omnisphere. And then we also, this is important, don't forget to uncheck master parent send, because our folder is already the master parent and we don't want the sub item of this guy to be a master too. So just uncheck this one for every single one. So same thing for the next. Let's rename these two. MIDI 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so back to 2. Uncheck master parent, add a send to Omnisphere, which is the top guy here. And we want to send 2, MIDI 2 to 2 again. All right. And then on MIDI 3, uncheck, send to Omnisphere, channel 3. And then Omni 4, send to 4, channel 4. So that's basically it. Then we can come up here to Omnisphere and click on the input and output for the actual Omnisphere instance, and you can see it automatically created all the returns. We created 4 sends, and it created 4 different returns up here. So you can see the Omni MIDI 1, MIDI 2, MIDI 3, and they're all configured that way. So we're not sending anything for Omnisphere. Omnisphere is receiving all the data. And with that, we're pretty much done. To test it out, we'll click record on the first guy and see if we've got any sound. Okay, how about the next instrument? Okay, and the third. Okay, that's good. And how about the fourth one? All right, cool. So now we're basically all set up, and we can click the little minus guy here to condense these up a little bit. And so if I want to record now, all I have to do is just press record on this guy, start recording some stuff, and it will create its own MIDI recording for that channel. And the same thing for the next guy. If I want to add some more and start recording. So it's got them all self-contained there, and as you can see, the parent is basically doing a mirror of what's here, kind of merging them down into one channel there. So that's pretty cool. You can do the same thing again here. If you want to add, say, another 8 instruments, you could add another instance of Omnisphere down here, another virtual track, and do the same exact thing again. So there you go. Oh, you know what? Before I quit, I'm going to show you the Omnisphere website here. So spectrasonics.net, and when you come to the main web page, I wish I would have found this earlier, but if you go to support knowledge base, and then over here under Omnisphere Trillion, there's host tutorials basic setup, and then in here they've got all the digital workstations that you can click on Reaper. And here you go. This shows you how to do it on a Mac environment, but PC is pretty much the same. This shows you kind of everything that we just did, but one thing it doesn't tell you is how to organize those tracks into folders like that. And there's a trick in there where if you were to just create folders, if you were to do this tutorial, you'd be fine, but if you were to create those nested subfolders like we did here, you'd run into that issue of the master parent send, and your tracks would be screwed up. So it's important to make sure that your Omni MIDI folder is the master, and then all the sub items don't have that checked. So, okay, that's it.